Hello and welcome back to Harry Ball Sports. I saw Seahawks Colts this week live, so I did not get to watch a lot of football as it was happening, but rest assured I did my research, so it is still worth watching. I still do have a reason to speak on this. Stay with me. Gonna hop right into Week 15, starting with Falcons-Bucks on Thursday night. This is the kind of game everybody imagined when Kyle Pitts was originally drafted. He had 45 fantasy points, absurd. The Bucks had led for a lot of this game, but the momentum shifted pretty hard in the second half, primarily from this horrible interception from Baker. That was definitely bad, but I think the defense giving up big plays late in the game kind of created the situation that we see here on the scoreboard. Really, the Falcons shouldn't be winning this game, and if the Bucks want to keep up any of their reputation, they can't be dropping a game like this. Great time, though. It really came down to the wire. Bijan Robinson got in trouble for something he said in the post-game interview, but I don't have to talk about that. This was a weird game for Lamar. He both had a pretty low-end game with only 8 completions and a pick, but also one of the prettier throws I could remember this season. Bengals having a bad game does suck to see, even though it happens a lot, but 0 points total is worse than this team usually does, and that's saying something. Not a lot you can hide behind there, and the 96-yard pick six did not help. I hope we can see a few more good offensive performances from the Bengals this year, so they can go into next year with at least a little bit of momentum and a little bit of positivity. It has been very, very draining, just slowly deteriorating over the last 4 years. And there are rumors Joe Burrow might just retire at the end of the season. I don't know where those are coming from, but I can't imagine a man who was defeated enough by this season to at least consider it. Raiders-Eagles was obviously a blowout. It was a play the backup QB kind of blowout. And it's sad the state the Raiders find themselves in now, but this is a pretty tough game. Philly was just clicking on offense, and it didn't even look that hard to put up 31 points. Of course, I would have liked to see a more exciting game, but with a matchup like this, I can't really go into it expecting that, so I'm not too disappointed or anything. I remember at the beginning of the season, Geno said, "I'm going to win a lot of games as a Raider," and he has not. If I were a starting quarterback, I would just not say stuff at all, probably, because no matter what you say, it's going to come back and bite you. Like that quote, that's a horrible quote, and you have to know that when you say it. Hope he learns his lesson. Cardinals lost this one by halftime. I mean, they were down 17-0 right at the beginning of the game, and when you're the Texans winning by that much, it's pretty easy to control the game at that point, so they never really came close enough again to feel like they had a shot. CJ Stroud looked pretty good again. I'm very happy to see that. I was talking down on him earlier, but, he's coming back. Also, now we've seen both sides of the ball come up big for the Texans, meaning that they can both do it, whereas I thought it was kind of only the defense that could really perform like this. It just increases my confidence in Houston moving forward. I think if he asked me 2 months ago, I'd be telling a very different story, so, good for Houston. Kind of like the Colts did last week, the entire Chiefs organization suffered in this game. I don't think a single person wearing red left the stadium feeling happy. 1, they were mathematically eliminated in this game. 2, the dropped passes were embarrassing. 3, missed opportunities kind of put a very winnable game out of reach for him. And of course, Mahomes now has a torn ACL, so there goes his season. That sucks for a lot of reasons, sure, but also now Chiefs fans can say Mahomes has never missed the playoffs in a healthy season, or, done this or that in a healthy season, whatever it might be. That point technically is true, but it kind of feels misrepresentative here because they can totally forget about this season that was really bad for their guy. People complain about Brady fans being selective with his stats, but we're going to see this come up in a few years, I guarantee it. This was definitely my game of the week, at least until Lions-Rams happened. Pats, while still being very impressive, did not have their usual consistent dominance in this one. That sense of calm that allowed them to just take the lead and run with it. This was an unusual game where they really had to keep the pedal down, and they just couldn't do it. They hadn't really needed to a lot this year. Very big game here. Buffalo got win number 10, and I think while the division title is still out of reach, it was a very good step for the team. Trevor Lawrence has looked really good this year. He's a sneaky top quarterback in the league. He's putting up a lot of points very reliably, and you could even consider this the best game of his career. I mean, 48 points. You shouldn't really be scoring 48 points in an NFL football game. The Jags are making some noise all of a sudden, which is really great to see at this point in the year. I hope it doesn't happen, of course, but we could see the Jets come out of this season with 0 interceptions on defense. I would comfortably call this a bad game from both teams. Younghoe Koo missed 2 field goals in this one, which he can really not afford to do right now at this point in his career. The defenses look garbage, unnecessary turnovers on both sides, and the tackling was bad. Just straight up bad. I know these two teams are struggling a lot with injuries and with, management issues or whatever it might be, but if you're making $100 million, you can play a little better. I'm liking the Bears a lot. Caleb had a very good game again. Given this defense is slowly deflating, but they have a good reputation, like they're supposed to be good. His receivers were definitely helpful there with some good contested catches, while Shedeur didn't even really give his receivers a chance. He's kind of playing the way that I feared he would, which is with his ego. I think that's a big part of who he is at this point. That's very obvious by the way that he presents himself. And while ego is great, and I think it drives a lot of great quarterbacks, look at Aaron Rodgers, look at Tom Brady, for example. When the talent and the poise and the situation isn't there to support it, it'll really tear a quarterback apart and cause them to make decisions that maybe they shouldn't be making, overestimate their arm talent. And I think at least to succeed in Cleveland, Shedeur needs to kind of bring that down a little bit. However, like I said, that archetype is not unproven. That can work if it's in the right situation. It's just you have to kind of get that figured out first before you start playing with your ego. Panthers Saints was a weird game. I picked the Saints here, actually, and I turned out to be right. Really, that was a reckless pick, but here we are. You know what? New development on the show. Saints' redemption arc starts now. When I give this team a little bit of love and a little bit of credit, they seem to produce. The official Harry Ball Sports take on the Saints is on a temporary pause. We're going to choose love for a bit. We'll see what happens. Lions-Rams had just as many highlights as I expected, but a lot more lowlights than I expected too. Even with this interception, Stafford still played very, very good. He's just a machine out there. He's keeping his MVP hopes alive. And I said we could very well see 80 points in this game, and I was not very far off. Honestly, that prediction feels the best out of all of these. It's weird how a Lions team with this much talent just can't seem to put together too many wins. I get this is a really hard game and you're supposed to lose to the Rams, but I guess I thought I would see them be more of a lock in the playoffs. I think the defense has really been the issue for quite a while. Also, they're inconsistent on special teams, which people underrate the importance of. I like the Lions a lot. I like the culture. I like the organization. I like the head coach. I just think if they tighten up the details a little bit, a lot of these losses can turn into wins. Two things I didn't know when I bought tickets to the Colts-Seahawks game. One, did not know it was going to be this exciting. When I bought the tickets, Colts-Seahawks was kind of a lame game. We thought both these teams were going to be mid. They are not mid. Two, I did not think we were going to see a 44-year-old Phillip Rivers come out of retirement, put his grandson down, and go back onto the field. Unprecedented. The building was electric. I think they really liked the unique nature of this game. And I had a great time. Shout out to the guy behind us for taking this picture of me and Cameron. Also, shout out to the guys behind us who got taken away by the alcohol police. That was fun for all of us. Don't know what the issue was, but the guys in the red jackets were pissed. Myers was fighting for that number one kicker spot. I mean, he had all 18 points. He was automatic from wherever you wanted to kick from. He definitely has a case for number one. It was a great game and a great story, but a very exhausting day for me personally. That is quite a drive from Vancouver to Seattle and then Seattle back to Vancouver during game day traffic. Not fun. Don't recommend. I watched Packers-Broncos over the shoulder of the guy in front of me, actually. He had it on his phone, and he must have had money in the Packers or something because he was emoting the whole time. He was very stressed out. This was a great game, too, very back and forth. Definitely delivered on what it was sold as, a playoff-type game. But unfortunately, we did see Micah Parsons tear his ACL and go out for the season. So even after all that in the offseason, all that drama, all that talk, all that money moving around, he's not even going to play in the postseason. So kind of an underwhelming ending to that saga. Both the Cowboys and Parsons aren't playing in the postseason. But I think that situation's going to provide for us for a little bit longer, so it's fine. I think Parsons going down really does hurt this Packers team too. They're going to need whatever they can get to beat a team like this in the playoffs. So I hope they can scheme something up to replace that role. But good luck, it's Micah Parsons. Kind of like Trevor Lawrence, I would say Cam Ward had the best game of his career in this one. 170 yards and 2 touchdowns is good. That's kind of what you hope a quarterback would do. And really, my main thing is no interceptions. That's been a problem for him all season, or even just weird turnovers in general. He just makes a few bad plays that kind of takes the whole game away. But no, he looked pretty solid here. I think if he does this every week, I can see how the Titans could hypothetically win games. The margin of error is really low right now, and even with pretty much no mistakes, they still didn't really have a chance on this one. So if he plays like this and they build up the roster a little bit, they can make it happen. Eventually. Theoretically. Hypothetically. I will say that just for perspective, Purdy had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, so it's not like he had an incredible game, I guess. I'm just really harping on those 0 turnovers. I'm really happy to see that. Let's just keep working on that first. On to Vikings-Cowboys. J.J. McCarthy not only had an unexpected win in this game, but he actually looked good. It wasn't just some BS with the refs or checkdowns or the run game or whatever. He played quality football for 4 quarters. He hasn't won back the fans yet, or the media, or Justin Jefferson, or me for that matter. But it's a step in the right direction. I thought the Cowboys had this one in the bag, honestly. Another kind of disappointing week. I feel like they weren't playing with their whole heart, which I can understand considering they're not in the playoffs anymore, but I knew I was going to say it eventually, but this is officially the game that lost Tua his job. I think the Dolphins are set to release him pretty soon. Sad to see him go, but I can't say I don't respect the decision. That does bring up the question, though, of where he's going to go. He's kind of proven he's not a starting quality quarterback, at least for a good team, but he's definitely within that range. Like I said, there's some rumors Joe Burrow retires this season, so if they put Tua in the Cincinnati offense, it would kind of be a similar situation to the Dolphins. It would be him, a decent running back, and just 2-star receivers. But at least those receivers want to be here, whereas Tyreek Hill obviously did not. Also, I haven't heard his name in a long time. I don't think he's coming back. It's definitely sad to see stars leave the league, or at least kind of change the position they're in, but it was about time. I was surprised that it was Tua who went out and not Mike McDaniel. A lot of teams are quicker to blame the head coach than they are the quarterback, but the head coach doesn't throw picks, and Tua throws picks. All right, at the end of this game, I am 149 and 75. Sitting at 66%. I'll remind you, though, the season goal was changed to 65% accuracy, so I'm just barely hanging in there. I still got to keep trying here. You might notice that Thursday Night Football already happened. I apologize I didn't get to filming this in time, but I will say Rams Seahawks is one of the better games I have ever seen. I was trying to put the puppy to sleep, which requires being very still and calm, but this game was just ending and I could not manage to do that. Puppy was up all night. I mean, the 3 2-point conversions, one was turned over by the refs, coming down to one final play in overtime, and also the performances by Puka and Stafford and JSN when it really mattered in the second half there. Like, this is as good as this sport gets. Very, very happy with this game. I'm going to remember this one for a long time. And I will say, I have it pulled up here. I did in my phone. You can't see that. It says Seahawks over Rams, dated Monday, December 15th. I did write this. You have no way to officially confirm that or check it, but I promise you this is real. I knew it was going to be a busy week. I knew there was a chance I wasn't going to be able to do it before Thursday. I wrote it here. But I'll say having it written here kind of gave me an excuse to not do it before Thursday, so I think in the future I'm just not going to do that. But I promise you, I swear, I predicted the Seahawks. I'm giving myself the point. I'll do the sound effect now. I don't care. Moving on from you trusting me, on to Eagles Commanders. There are 2 Saturday games happening, which I can definitely appreciate. I don't necessarily know why, but I'm fine with it. Commanders, even coming off a win, have not looked effective in a long time, and the Eagles just blew out the Raiders in an embarrassing fashion. So with my recency bias and my general opinions of the players in the field, I will take the Eagles. Packers-Bears is a very good matchup right now. They're coming off very different weeks. The Bears, destroyed a bad team, whereas the Packers lost to a good one. So while technically momentum favors the Bears here, I think it's still a fair game. This is one where there isn't really an obvious pick. I will say, though, the recent injuries on the Packers do definitely hurt them in actual big games like this. And this is a big game. I think Ben Johnson has Caleb Williams playing very, very well right now. And I can't honestly say I expect the Packers to come out looking the same after losing their best receiver and their best defensive player. So considering I actually know all that information, I have to pick the Bears. Chargers-Cowboys is a pretty good matchup as well. Cowboys have been phoning it in a little bit recently, especially on offense. And the Chargers do look like an actual strong, reasonable team deserving of their record. I think theoretically I like the Cowboys product more, but they're just not playing like themselves. And the Chargers do have enough to do it in any given week. I think while it's not going to be a blowout or like super obvious, I think I'm going to lean towards LA. I can't decide whether or not I'm interested in this game. I think the Giants will be desperate for wins, and JJ McCarthy is desperate to get some positive attention, I guess. But the Giants' defense can really bring pressure when they have to. And yeah, he had a couple good quarters, but I don't think that JJ McCarthy could be able to handle all that, especially since the offensive line isn't really helping him out all too much. I feel like all they would have to do is bracket Justin Jefferson all game, and they might have a pretty good chance. I'm kind of just yapping here, but I will take the Vikings. These two teams deserve each other. Bengals coming off a 24-0 loss that really hurts, and Dolphins just essentially fired their quarterback. I feel like neither team wants to win this one, because at this point you're just giving up a draft pick. I don't ever really feel comfortable picking a backup quarterback to win a game. I know I have a lot this year, but generally I just can't get down with that decision. And the Bengals are bad, but the Dolphins are bad too. I'm going to go back to the old Harry Ball Sports classic, though, that at least the Bengals are complete right now. At least they had the same team they started the season with, and I think that means a lot, even if you're bad. So give me Cincinnati. Bucs-Panthers is good because both these teams have embarrassed themselves recently. Similar to Bengals-Dolphins, where these teams are just down bad. But the difference here is that the disappointment has come more recently, whereas in Bengals-Dolphins, they've been known to be bad for a while. I don't have a lot positive to say about either of these teams, so this one kind of just comes down to how I'm feeling right now. And I think the way I'm feeling is the Panthers. So I'll take the Panthers at home. Not even going to BS it or fill it with extra words. I believe in the Saints team now. We're doing the 180. I mean that. I'll take the Saints by a bazillion. Bills-Browns does feel like your classic trap game, where the Bills might let off the gas for a second. We see kind of a crazy upset. I think had they not just done what they did to the Patriots, I would pick the Browns. I do like picking an upset, even though I don't do it a whole lot. But after really holding it together during a tough game, I can't just disrespect him like the week after. I want to see Shedeur go do his thing, but he is no Josh Allen. Give me the Bills. I'm going to take the energy from that last game and channel it. I want to pick the upset. Cam Ward played pretty good last game. The Chiefs have been struggling. Mahomes is out. If there's any time ever to pick the Titans for this game, it is right now. I'm going to take advantage of that. Let's see him go do it. Tennessee. Another game I definitely like. I think both these teams are finally starting to get the respect they deserve. I think people have been very skeptical of both of them, but now they've just done it for enough weeks in a row where it's like, okay, I guess we have to trust them. People don't like Bo Nix. People don't like the Jaguars organization, but they keep doing it. And while yes, Trevor Lawrence has been very impressive, this Broncos defense is nuts. And if Bo Nix actually continues to go out there and score points so there's less pressure on the defense, that's a really good look for this team. So I just feel more comfortable with my money on Denver. Bad game. Not going to watch this game. Might start Kyle Pitts. Give me the Falcons. Also might not watch this game, but for a different reason, this could just very well be a blowout. I mean, the Raiders scored 0 last week and they're playing a better defense this week. That's a really tough pregame speech to give at the locker room. I don't have to fancy this up and add a link to the video. Give me the Texans. The Lions are kind of like my new Falcons, where I just like the individual talent so much I'm kind of blinded to how they're actually playing. However, even though I understand that to be the case, I'm going to give the Lions a little bit more time before I let them go, full Falcons in my head. Because the idea of this team, like this team on Madden, for example, it's so cool. It makes so much sense. I can see him beating anyone. I don't want to grow up and accept reality just yet. I'm picking the Lions. We saw last week that the Pats are in fact beatable. And yes, the Ravens did win, I think it was 24-0, but they didn't win in a way that makes me feel like they have what it takes to carry that over, I guess, to a far better team. If they won with Lamar having 3 touchdowns and 200 passing yards and 70 rushing yards, I'd be like, okay, yeah, they have this weapon that can do whatever he wants all the time. But no, it was like 8 completions, so I can't let that excitement carry me all too far. The responsible choice here is picking the Patriots. Definitely going to watch the hell out of this one. I love seeing Phillip Rivers, but I'm not going to walk around pretending like he's going to go be good out there. I mean, I saw him in person last week. Bro was not in game shape. He was tripping over himself. He had no velocity on the ball. Every ball he threw felt like a dad playing catch with his son. And that's not his fault. Like, he's 44 years old. Let him do what he's going to do. But I mean, he did choose to come back and do this. He's not going to throw for more than 150 on these Niners. I just can't see it happening. Jonathan Taylor might get, 20 first downs like he does a lot, but that's just not going to be enough. I like the Niners to win this one. With that said, and with Tall Peter happening up there in the top left corner, I'm going to call it there. That's week 16. Like I said, about 66%. I definitely want to go higher than that. I kind of need this week and next week to work in my favor. We'll see how it goes. So actually genuinely do wish me luck. I feel like I need that. And thank you for being here. I had a lot of fun going to the game. It was my first time going to an NFL game. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. My ticket was like $100. I had kind of some nosebleed seats, but the environment was really, really fun and it made it all worth it. I'm a big supporter of enjoying sports to its full capacity. That's kind of why I do this. Like the video, Harry Ball Sports.